All right, three, two, one. Back at it here on the Alaska Sports Talk podcast. So glad to have you along wherever you're tuned in through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whether you're tuned in through alaskasportstalk.com, wherever you get the podcasts. Glad to have you along. As usual, Keaton Homer, Isaiah Vreeman, along with you. Also, by the way, we're on YouTube, just so you know
Yeah,
that.
we are.
Uh,
We
we're on the
definitely are.
tube, on the tube.
On the
So,
tube.
or on the gram, as some of the high school kids say these days that I've
Oh, I'm
run
not that
into.
hip. Not that
Oh, you're
hip.
not you're
No,
not that
I
hip.
don't think so.
Has anybody not like stopped you in public and be like, "Hey, aren't you that guy from the podcast? I
That's
see you all the time on the gram."
I,
Like,
no one's come up to me and said, "Hey, I see you on the gram a lot." No, I haven't gotten that
oh,
one. I've
oh,
gotten a
okay,
couple like, "Hey, I've seen your clips," or "I've seen some
yeah.
clips with you." That's about it, but no trendy language. You're on the gram. I saw
I
you
don't
on the
even know if they say the
gram.
gram. Maybe it's Insta. I think it's say
Insta.
Insta now. It used
They,
to be
they can't say
gram.
that you're. There's no way
They
they're
just
saying
can't
the whole
say
word. There's
they.
no
Yeah,
way.
we got to shorten Instagram to either Insta or gram,
Yeah.
not Instagram.
What are some of the shortened words that they've done? That's so. Oh, instead of suspect, I've heard this
Sus.
one. That's so sus.
Yeah, you're right.
That's so stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't. I know.
Are we on our
Call
old
me.
man
Call
rant?
me. Call me old man. Call me the old guy on the front lawn with black socks screaming at the clouds. I mean, call me that. But that's so sus. The first time I heard my daughter say that, I looked at her and went,
No.
"Excuse me? No, Dad, it says this." No, no. I want
The
full
word
words. Full
oh,
words.
is
That's so
suspect.
sus is not gonna fly. Sorry.
Uh, yeah, that's a good example. I feel like there's a lot more out there.
There's a lot more.
Oh, man, trying to think of some off the top of my head, but you're right. I feel like a lot of the social media things get shortened down. I mean,
Yeah.
Snapchat is just Snap, right? Or it's not Snapchat, even though the thing is called Snapchat, right? It's Snap or Instagram's Insta or the Gram. Uh, I don't know if TikTok is shortened. I mean, it's hard to shorten.
I
Are
don't
you on the
know.
talk? Like,
Hang
do
on.
you have tick or
Are you a
talk or
tick or are you a talk? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah?
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
that one's. I don't think you can really shorten that one, but I don't know. Anyway,
TT, are you on the TT?
that sounds
Pro-
bad. Like, I don't think.
Probably not. Yeah, let's not.
Yeah,
We
that's
won't do
yeah. That
that.
one's. I
I
think we're
didn't think
moving on.
about that until
We're
after you said,
moving
"Yeah,
on.
we're gonna move on."
I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what are
so
you gonna do?
sus.
That's
That's so
very sus.
sus.
It's very good stuff. Well, you're here to, listen to Alaska sports and what's going on in the scene of Alaska sports, not two guys digest like random verbiage that is used today.
But I
Uh,
know other people are saying and agreeing with us
oh yeah,
as
there's
they are
people,
listening. One
yeah,
thousand percent.
right. Or they have like maybe their high school kid in the car with them, and like the parents are like, yeah, and the high school kid's like, what are they talking about? These guys, oh my gosh, they don't even know what they're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
so, but
that's pretty
anyway.
much probably. I'd say that's probably what's happening.
If you have any of those reactions, like
I would be
I want to
interested.
hear them. Like
Yeah, it would be
yeah,
funny.
it would be quite
Take
funny.
take a video and put it on Insta and
There you go.
tag us.
You're right.
There we go.
And then you can have like the podcast playing in the background
Yeah,
and like, yeah. Anyway.
and having the kids. That's so sus. They're so sus. Just
Well, what's
all
not
right. Yeah.
suspect is sports here in
No,
Alaska. I mean,
definitely not.
getting to the spring sports, we're getting into softball, baseball, soccer, all picking up now. I think we've hit the regular season officially for all three of those sports. Track and field's been in full swing for close to a month now, as well. So, baseball got started a couple of weeks ago. I know that there's been some teams that have played games against some out of state competition already, especially down like in the southeast. I think there's been a
Correct.
handful of games against teams against out of state competition. Like I feel like Sitka
South.
started like at the end of March. I feel like.
Yeah,
Um,
they definitely can get games in pretty early. I know South went to, oh, excuse me, Kodiak for some games. I think it was last
Yeah.
weekend or maybe a week and a half ago now.
Yeah, the
Um,
10th, I
s-
think back April 10th, yeah.
yeah, so they're definitely picking up, and I know soccer's picking up a little bit too. I know the next when looking at the schedule, baseball, soccer, well, and softball to that matter, all the spring sports really, they really start picking up some outside games this starting this weekend.
Well,
And
May is
really,
the month. I mean, May
yeah,
is crazy in terms of spring sports.
100%.
Like, it has to be probably the most jam-packed month of sports on the calendar. I
Oh,
mean,
for events, yeah. Well, you think cross
track and
country there,
field, soccer, I mean, baseball, softball, I mean,
and they
everything that is going on.
and they all have to pack it in with the end of school, and you basically have really, in reality, 6 weeks for most of the schools to cram in a
Right.
season.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so you're playing two games, maybe three games
Hmm.
easily in a week.
Oh yeah.
Some cases you're playing double headers, right? Like I know the West soccer team, they're making a trip down to the Southeast, I think next week. And I think I was talking to their head coach, Caleb Kewen, briefly today, and he said I think they're playing like 8 games in 10 days or 9 games in 11 days, something crazy like
It's a
that.
lot.
When they go down to the southeast because they're hitting up Ketchikan, Juneau, Sitka, all the teams that they can while they're down there in the southeast. So they're going to squeeze in a lot of games in a very short period of time, and you know, not that everybody's traveling to go play games, but even if you're not traveling, just your regular season, your conference play, you're playing 2 games a week at minimum to get a conference season
Well,
in.
you
So
have to, and most of the time you're not going to be getting. I mean, some teams can get 22 games in, but not everybody's getting that many in. They just they run
no,
out of time. Now this
right,
year, especially with the team sports, because they were able to get out early a little bit earlier than the last couple of years, they might be able to hit those numbers. But I'm just looking at the schedule for baseball. On Friday, there are a total of 9 games, and then Saturday is another big day again. And I know I don't even think everybody's schedule is in, but that's another 7 games on the schedule. And again, that's really just D1.
right.
You know,
It's jammed.
it's jammed. Now softball, when I was looking at the softball stuff, the Southeast teams have been going for a little while, and man, Sitka for Division 2 looks, whew, man.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. They are they look like they've been destroying teams. I mean, big time. They've got
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's pretty wild. They've played well. If you look at it, Ketchikan
Geez, they
and
beat Colony 20-0. Sitka
yeah,
did. Holy mackerel!
well, Sitka's 5, 6, and 3 overall. Ketchikan's
Right.
8, 10, and 1 for softball. Now, some of
You've
that's
already got all the. Yeah.
they can play obviously a lot earlier, and some of them might be those,
Double headers too.
some of the double headers and some, not mini matches like we have with volleyball, but they can stack more games obviously in a day with
Right.
softball than they can with baseball and things. So
Exactly.
it's yeah, they've there's some teams that have played a lot of games already.
Right. No, there have. It's crazy, and I'm trying to think in the fall if there's any month quite like May in terms of fall sports. I mean, you have flag football, football, cross country. Um,
The beginning part of
that's
wrestling is, in October.
Yeah, but you're not squeezing in. I
No,
mean, you're getting
no.
soccer state championships, softball state championships, track and field, baseball. Like there's four state
The
championships that get put in.
2 weeks, two
Yeah,
weekends. No,
right.
you're 100% right. The spring sports get jammed and condensed into 2 weekends, whereas October starts the busy time where the fall sports start ending, and then it bleeds into the winter ones, but it's spaced out over
Right.
the course of those, and middle of October to the right before Christmas break. It's spread out. That's not the case with spring sports. It is, they go all the
Is
way up until school's out, and then bam.
is there ever been any discussion of like, can you stagger it more? Like, I don't know how you could do it.
Well,
Uh,
we used to have, ASAA used to have where track and field would end. Then the next weekend it was state soccer. And then the weekend after that, it was baseball, softball.
right.
But track and field didn't like that, which I can understand to a certain extent, is because their season is short enough as it is. So they wanted to get that extra week. So they put it all with soccer. Now, that screws up some of the soccer athletes who are doing track and field as well. So now you have both doing it. Now, what do you choose? Because that has happened. I know that happened as early as last year with some athletes trying to do both, and they're part of a relay or not part of a relay. And so there's some of those things. And you have conference tournaments at the same time, or I should say, regional matchups for track and field.
Yeah.
Soccer doesn't have conference tournaments really anymore, which is definitely something that doesn't affect the track and field nearly as much as state does. So, yeah, it's definitely. I think you're right. I never really thought about it all that terribly much, but I think you're right. I think May might be the most jam packed as far as regular season and state tournaments that we have in a calendar wise, because it just everything's wrapping up. All four, they have to. And this year,
Yeah.
baseball,
Right.
baseball and softball, this is the latest that state tournament gets. Is because when the calendar rolled over from last year to this year, it got really early, early, early. And now this is the latest it is. I think June, yeah, June 5, 6, 5, 6, and 7. So that's the latest it gets. And then now it starts as next year rolls around, it starts going backwards. So it'll probably end up being June 1, 2, 3, and
Right.
a year or two. So
Right. I was going to say, I feel like I remember a state tournament that very last couple of days of May or something
yep.
one year or
Yep. It
something.
starts to roll back all the way to that. And then
Yeah.
once it gets to that last weekend in May, then calendar rolls over again because it usually
Right.
rolls between 5 and 6 years. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, that's for sure. Everything gets jam packed.
No, it does. So there's going to be a lot of games coming up in terms of softball, Division One, Division Two, baseball, Division One, Division Two. Same with soccer, as well. And there's going to be just a lot of games. Like, so if you're a high
Lots of
school sports
games.
fan and you want to check out, hopefully the weather's decent. The weather's looking pretty good. So I think it's going to be a solid spring sports season, for high school baseball and high school softball and soccer and track and field, and things like that. As I mentioned, some D1 baseball scores already coming in uh, to start the season. I was going to bring up some from last week. Where were we at? If we scroll down through the calendar, last week's games, Eagle River and Diamond played to a 6-6 tie. Last Saturday, Chugiak and Service played at Bartlett High School. Service winning 7-5. Service, by the way, picked up 5 runs in the first inning of that game against Chugiak, to hold on by a couple of runs there. Mustangs were able to score, I think, three in the fourth and a couple in the fifth or something of that nature. Anyway, trying to mount a comeback, but come up a little bit short. South taking down West 5-1. Betty Davis, East Anchorage Thunderbirds defeating Bartlett 4-2, and then Bartlett playing yesterday on the calendar. Had a rare Monday game, did Bartlett, but Service taking down Bartlett 13-0 yesterday. So Service looking very formidable yet again. The Cougars, last year's state champions, and looking to try to repeat. Of course, everybody knows that they have one of the top players in all of the state of Alaska coming back to their team, Rylan Nikolai, coming back. So he's going to be a player to look out for the Service Cougars. I remember already hearing rumors that he's got pro scouts looking at him. So, I
I've
mean,
heard some of those same things.
so he's got pro baseball scouts coming up here to watch him, and I think also Liam Learman, getting looked at, pitcher and first baseman for the Eagle River Wolves, as well. So those would be a couple of their players to kind of keep an eye out for in terms of high school baseball here in the state of Alaska. Take a look at some of the scores from D1 softball. We mentioned Division Two that Sitka looking really, really strong,
Whew.
and they had that
Yeah.
20-0 victory over Colony, but pass along a few other scores from some softball matchups from this past weekend. Um, West Valley losing to Juneau 14-6. Diamond taking down East Anchorage 9-8 in a close one. Juneau with a 9-2 victory over West Valley. Chugach with a 7-1 win yesterday over Diamond, and then Wasilla with a victory today against Palmer 15-2. So uh, kind of all over the place in terms of scores here at the moment. It'll take a little bit to kind of weed through the first couple of weeks of the season. They're always interesting. You got to figure out what you got as a team, and then kind of settle things down. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens in terms of some scores once you get into the beginning stages of May and on into the middle stages as well. Who starts to separate themselves from the pack? I don't know if any of those games as of yet are conference games. I don't think we've quite gotten the conference play, even though some of those games are conference opponents. Does that make sense what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Isaiah?
Well, it kind of depends on how they have some of those things set up. Some conferences have it where you have to declare which ones are the conference games before the
Right,
season
right,
starts and all that because most of the time you're just playing who you can play when it gets closer to the at the beginning of the season, depending on weather. So
right.
it kind of depends. It's hard to say at this point.
So we'll definitely be keeping our eye out in terms of all the spring sports from the state of Alaska and what starts to happen with those, especially as we start getting into the month of May. We're also following the Anchorage Wolverines as well. They started their playoff run against the Fairbanks Ice Dogs last week. Started the series, I should say, on the road. And boy, did
Oh,
they hold their own on the road? They looked impressive on the road up in Fairbanks, taking both of those games against the Ice Dogs. Was I surprised that they took both games?
uh,
Perhaps, yes.
perhaps
I
based.
definitely thought they got one, but the fact that they got two, I mean, you went 2-1 in the opening night and then bounced back with a 3-goal 4-1 victory the next. I
I,
think, I
I've got
mean,
to I got to say, Keaton, watching both of those games, the Wolverines were in control the whole time. Those games could have been blowouts if it wasn't
yeah,
for the Fairbanks goalie. He was unbelievable. One day, the first game, I think he stopped 36 shots or something like that. He only gave up to he was unbelievable. Some of the saves he had was crazy. They did a big watch party on Friday and Saturday down at Dave and Buster's, and the place was packed each night, and it was
yeah,
loud. There were people up there, and yeah, it was it, the team that we saw playing Chippewa on
right.
the past weekend was a totally I don't know what team that was compared to what we saw this during the start of the playoffs. They were unbelievable. They were on it. They weren't letting free skaters through in the neutral zone so much and into the zones. It was really impressive.
I'm trying to look at some of the stats here from that game. The From game two, I should say. Uh, Wolverines outshot the Ice Dogs 33-23 in terms of shots on goal. Uh, they did a good job of taking advantage of their power play opportunities as well. They
They
were one for
did.
two on the power play. The special teams unit was fantastic. They gave up 4 penalties. They had 8 total penalty minutes, but the Ice Dogs went 0 for 4 on the power play in that game number two up in Fairbanks. So now the Anchorage Wolverines a game away. If you win one game,
Yep.
right, they advance. So
Uh,
they've put themselves in the driver's seat. They have stolen the home ice advantage, so to speak, and now come back to Anchorage. That game slated for this weekend, I believe, right?
Friday,
Um,
Friday night, 7:30 at the Sully. First playoff Sully hockey. First playoffs Sullivan has seen since
the Aces,
I think was the Aces when they won the Kelly Cup in what was it 2016 or something like that.
something around that
It's
nature, yeah.
been yeah, it's been a long time. It's gonna be a wild scene in there.
Are there any special giveaways, anything like that? Do you know about that
Well, I
are
know that we're taping this podcast on Tuesday night. I know that they do a Wolverines Wednesday, so tickets are $7.50 on Wolverine Wednesday. So you
Nice.
can go on AnchorageWolverines.com and you can buy tickets there for 750 um, for adults or kids. So that's a discount of what they normally do. So I would definitely, if you're interested in watching and being part of something pretty wild on Friday night, you're definitely going to want to be there. Or watch it live on the AnchorageWolverines.com. You can watch it on NAHL TV, um, which their streaming numbers are pretty strong too.
They are.
They
Yeah.
are. They're pretty strong.
It is a pay platform. I mean, you got to pay to watch, but which is fine.
Yeah.
Totally get it. But yeah, no, the following that they have outside of Anchorage uh, is impressive. Really impressive.
Yep.
So, yeah, so the Anchorage Wolverines one victory away from advancing in the NAHL postseason. So trying to wrap things up with the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. Haven't looked at the other series in the Midwest. I haven't looked that far ahead. Have you,
Well, it's
Isaiah,
one
by chance?
the last I heard, if I remember correctly, it's 1-1 with the Chippewa Steel versus the Wisconsin
Some
Wendigo.
Wendigo. There
Yeah.
you go.
It was the Wendigo won 7-3 on Friday and Chippewa won 2-0 on Saturday. So now it's going to Chippewa for the next two. And Wisconsin could, wrap it up, that kind of thing, or it could be Wendigo extending it. Well, either one could wrap it up in Chippewa, so we'll see what happens instead of.
Yeah.
But yeah, the winner of these two series will play each other, and then the winner of that series will go to, I can't remember the name of the place they go to, but it's kind of like the Frozen Four where they all go to one location and it's a best of three.
Right.
And then for the Robertson Cup, it's one game. That's it.
Right. That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is a
It's completely
little
different than most playoffs, but
very, especially for, yeah, it's very different than any. I mean, football, obviously, you're not doing best of three or best of seven,
no, no.
but all the other ones you are, and you do it for the whole playoffs except for the final. So it is a little different.
It's a little
That's
weird,
for sure. It's a
but
little different.
whatever. You know, what else is different? It's not kind of interesting. You look at the attendance numbers because they put the attendance numbers next to
Mhm.
the games, and like you look at the Wisconsin Wendigo hosted the Chippewa Steel in the first two games, 607 fans the first game, 593 the second game, and then you look at the numbers up in Fairbanks. And I think this is just Fairbanks, and then it's sold out like 2,593 people or whatever it is for both games, and now it's going to come down to Anchorage, and you're going to have
It's going to be pushing
what
5,000.
I was going to
That
say
would be
at
my
least
guess.
upper fours. I mean,
Yeah.
47,000 or 47,000.
Yeah, wow.
4,700.
That would be
I mean,
remarkable.
that would be wild.
There'd be
Wow,
a
the
lot of
Sullivan
people
Arena.
standing in the parking lot. I can tell
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that.
right, exactly. Yeah, 4,700 or more, I would assume, would probably end up attending this game this weekend. So get your tickets, like Isaiah said, AnchorageWolverines.com. Get your tickets now, and then you can potentially buy them on the special Wednesday deal,
Yeah.
and try to get your tickets then and be part of the crowd and potentially watch the Wolverines wrap up a sweep of the Fairbanks Ice Dogs, which is kind of
That would be big.
I did not expect a sweep of the series, given how the regular season went.
No,
Um,
that they won
wouldn't have
four of
expected that.
four of the. They went the Wolverines went what 5-7
Yeah,
with the Ice
something.
Dogs, something like that.
Yeah, 12 games that they played. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, if the Wolverines play like they did this past weekend, I I don't see Fairbanks being able to beat them. Now, that
right.
being said, you know, home ice, does it mean a lot? Does it not mean a lot? We'll find out. We will definitely find out. That's for sure.
No, it will be. It'll be interesting. I'm sure the place is going to be rocking, though. No
It
doubt.
will.
So, uh, The other thing we're keeping our eye on, we mentioned this in the last podcast, obviously with the breaking news in terms of the coaching situation at UAA, especially for women's basketball, in search of a
Yep.
new head coach at the moment. And a week has gone by, and I brought it up saying that UAA needed to jump on this like, you know, a hobo on a ham sandwich, like quick.
Quick,
Like, I mean, we need to be
fast,
fast. Like, gotta go. Like,
fast. I
otherwise,
don't think UAA termed it that way. I think you did.
they didn't say
Oh,
that in the press release.
no, I don't.
I'm,
Probably
you
not.
know, like,
If it did though,
I,
that would have been hilarious.
I would have been press
That would have
release of
been
the year.
great.
I mean, it would have been, but the longer this gets drug out, right? And I said this last week, and I know you want to do your due diligence and hire the right person for the job. All right,
Yep.
you don't, but in today's day and age of college athletics, it seems that the longer it gets drug out, the the higher seems to be like meh, right? It's like, oh, we settled. Like that's because everybody that's applying for the job, I assume. I mean, we've heard rumors of college coaches already applying for it. There's been high school coaches that have applied for it.
Right.
I'm not going to throw any specific names out there right now, right?
No.
But it just seems that the longer the process takes, the people that are considering the job, right, are going to end up finding a job someplace else.
Yep.
Okay. And then, oh, we could have had this person, could have had this person, right? They applied for it, but, dragging the feet a little bit. And who knows? I don't know. Maybe they already have somebody kind of in the wings already, and they're
Yeah.
just waiting for the right time, I guess. I don't know, right? But um, I don't know. It may be things at the Division two level are a little bit different than the D1 level. I mean, obviously, Division one sports you're moving a lot quicker, a lot more stuff riding on it.
Yeah.
Not saying that there's not a lot
True.
of stuff riding on it for Division two, but it is a step down, a little bit of a notch. But I mean, this is a program that has historically been a top 25 program over the last 20
Absolutely.
seasons. They've been a force the last 13 seasons. They've been really good. So I'm not surprised by the number of people that are interested in the job. I'm just
No.
surprised that we haven't heard anything as of yet. Because what you texted me the other day, what the portal opened, like
The
uh,
portal open, how
yeah,
many athletes were in there? And remember our last podcast, we were talking, well, how many are Division two and not Division? Like,
right.
I don't know. I really don't know. And that's why I texted it to you because that was actually a much larger number than I thought. Something like 2,000, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look up, through the NCAA website as best as you can. It's hard to gauge, um, but I'm trying to look up Division two athlete transfers, and I don't even think this information's up to date. It's not. This isn't up to date. That's actually last year's number. That's from 2024 for Division two. But I can give you an idea from the NCAA itself, at least
What's,
according to
yeah, what do you got?
in 2024, um, there were 2,734 undergraduate transfers in Division two alone. There were 719 graduate transfers. So, I mean, we're talking over 3,000 student athletes that entered from Division two, right? Whether they're seeking another Division two school, whether they're seeking a Division one school, whatever it might be. So, I don't know.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's quite a few,
That's a
but that's
lot.
encompassing all sports. I mean, that's every single sport in Division two. So that covers a wide variety.
No doubt.
But
But
yeah, in
that's
terms,
still a lot when you used to not have those rules and things like that. So transfers were still happening, but it looked vastly different. And now that's
right.
you just have transfer. Now, is that my question would be, is that just that transfer portal window or is that all the windows? Because there's so many different windows for crying out loud. I don't
Yeah.
know how people keep track of it, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, there's
I don't
some
know.
random, there's like third party websites, I'll call it, that try to keep track of it. You can do a lot better job of it at the Division one level, just because I think
Right.
there's a lot more eyeballs on it. right? But the Division Two
True.
and Division Three, like
There's
that's
not a
just
Well, you're
yeah,
not going to have the ESPNs and the Fox Sports and all that kind of stuff
right,
tracking that like they would with Division One.
yeah, exactly. Like, see, the furthest like there's a website that stopped updating after the 2023 season, right? But it was keeping track of every Division Two transfer, right?
That's
And I
that
was
would be
like, this
hard.
it's
That's
crazy,
hard information to get. That
right?
would be
And I was
hard
like,
information to get.
holy cow! Like, so I mean, it's out there, but as to how accurate things are right now, I couldn't give you any clue. So,
Yeah, I don't.
uh, what I can say is, I bet there's people that are playing for the UAA women's basketball team. If they weren't contemplating transferring, maybe have given the idea of it, or if they didn't contemplate it, you know, I don't know. We'll find out who wants to stay. Like, I guess, and
Yeah,
you know,
we'll find out.
find out. Uh,
And you
yeah,
got to do. I agree with you. You got to do your diligence. You have to have time to. You got to give people
yeah,
time to apply. All those kind of things. But I would look at it as if I. This is just me. If I was running something like that, a sports entity of some sort where you got to hire coaches, things like that. You got to have a list ready, especially at a Division 1 level. You got to have a list of who would you like, who are, kind of the unicorns, who are some of
right.
these people, just so you have it. So if this does happen, you'd have at least a starting point because you can't just, okay, we're going to open it up and then let's see who applies. I mean, you got to do something, especially if you're a marquee program.
Right. Yeah.
You got to you know, Alabama when they hired what's his name from UW.
Kellen
Alabama didn't.
DeBoer.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't. Oh, hey, Kalen, we're going to need you to apply within the next week because we're going to be taking all these applications. It doesn't quite work like that. So you got to have some of that stuff ready. Now, again, maybe that's just a Division 1 thing and not a Division 2 thing. I don't know, but
Right.
I mean, when coaches go, especially when the transfer portal and you got to recruit your own players all the time, I think you got to be ready for some of those things.
Well, and again, I mentioned last week that I think a lot of it, in terms of who could be the next UAA head coach, I would hope, I don't know, I would assume that, the assistants that were on staff with Ryan may be considering it, possibly.
Possibly. Yeah.
Sheena Afoa, Jalen McCullough. I don't know, right? I know when the announcement was first made, right, it seemed like, uh, the assistant coaches were going to follow and go with Ryan McCarthy to Fresno. That's what it seemed at the moment. But now, after the press conference, because Coach McCarthy just did his press conference, I think yesterday, down in Fresno. Um, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I'm not saying it's not, right? But it seems like there's a possibility of like, all right, maybe the assistants from, the previous staff might be being considered, or they're considering the job. I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
just throwing out possibilities. But to me, it would make a whole bunch more sense. I mean, to try, at least from a UAA standpoint, to have the conversation with Shayna or Jalen, like, hey, we want to keep the thing rolling, right? You
Right.
guys know, like, what do we got to do to keep you here, to keep the ball rolling, and keep the success going? Like, uh, if I was, in uh, AD Ryan Swartwood's shoes, I'm sure he's probably already done this, right? Like, had that
I'm
conversation.
sure I would be
But
shocked if he hadn't had that conversation. Ryan's a smart guy. I would
yeah,
imagine he's already had that
totally.
conversation with those two.
Right.
And maybe multiple conversations.
Maybe.
Who
Right.
knows?
And
Yeah.
you and I both know that there's more than, those two being considered. I mean, again, you got
Yes.
to vet this thing out. You got to. But in today's day and age, like
You
it's
don't have 4, 5, 6 weeks to figure this out.
no,
No,
no. If this thing gets drug out into the summer, like this
but
is no bueno.
yeah, you can't be doing that. That doesn't work.
Well, I mean, think about all the summer workouts these teams do, right? I mean,
You're losing
I
time right now.
right.
They're able
I,
to work out and do stuff right now for a certain amount of hours in a week.
exactly.
And right now, you
Exactly.
don't who's
Who's running
somebody
the workouts?
who's running the are they doing them? I mean, I have no idea, but
Neither
you've
do I.
got that stuff going on right now.
Right.
So, I mean, you just don't have the luxury of waiting that long. I mean, I understand why you would. You want to get the right candidate, all those things, and make sure you get a good applicant pool, all that stuff. But coaching at not the high school, at the college level, you just don't have that kind of time,
No.
especially if you're a UAA girls program that's got a lot of momentum, like you said, nationally ranked, many years, the facilities that they have, all that. You got to jump on that quick.
Totally. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of the next hire over this next. I would assume, this is my assumption, uh, they have to have it done in the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks
Got to be done.
max.
Got to be done. And if
I
it's not
would
done by then I don't know. Like it'll
if you want to
be
get
interesting.
if you want to get the highly sought after candidates right now that are going on, you've got to get it done in the next couple weeks, I would think. Again,
Right.
I say that not being in the Division 2 space where I don't know how fast all that stuff. I know how fast it goes with Division 1 and some of the higher levels. I get that. And it maybe can't be that fast, but it can't be slow. It
No.
cannot be slow.
No. Anyway, so we'll if and when we get an announcement, whenever that is, we'll have an emergency podcast
We'll even try to
show
get the new
for that.
we'll even try to get the new person on since
Heck
we
yeah.
did the coaches show and stuff, and you've got
Yeah.
that special connection
Yeah.
with the program, obviously.
Can do
So
that. Totally. Totally. We'll just wait for that time, whenever that might
yeah,
be. So we'll find
could be
out.
tomorrow. You
Could be
never know.
tomorrow. It
Could
could be
be
right
tomorrow.
now. My watch is buzzing. Nope, that's not it.
No,
All
no,
right.
no.
Nope, nope. That's telling me what the weather is for the weekend. So it's supposed to be nice, just so you know. It's supposed to be in the 50s. But
Yeah, it's a
uh,
big weekend coming up. We got we've got the Alaska High School Hall of Fame.
yeah,
That's on Sunday. And if you haven't, if you're going to be there, great. If not, you can still watch it on the NFHS network. Go to alaskahalloffame.org, and there's links to watch it. You don't need to pay to watch it or anything like that, but some links to watch it. Pretty good class of people going in, so you can take a look at that. Alaska High School or alaskahalloffame.org. So that's happening on Sunday, 2 o'clock over at the Special Olympics Jim Balamaci Training Center.
nice. That'll be good. That'll be a good
Yeah,
time.
that's always a good time. We'll sit down. Alaska Sports Talk will be there. We'll sit down with some of the inductees and get some stories and things like that, like we did last year, which was a lot of fun. So we'll do that again. And, you know, we do know somebody that's going to be there really well, or, we know somebody who is related to one of them. So I know we'll be able to get one of them to sit
We
down.
gave you that clue last week.
Yeah, we did.
So if I don't
Maybe
know,
you can
we
figure
should
it out,
do a
everybody.
giveaway. I don't know.
Well,
First
I've
person
got,
to email us with the
hey,
answer.
yeah, there we go. I actually, you know what? First person that emails us with the correct answer, because we may have even said it in the last podcast, but the first person that email us with the correct answer, I have an Alaska Sports Talk T-shirt
Boom.
with your
Boom.
name on it. Boom, done.
I like it.
Yeah,
Actually, with the person's name on it, are we gonna?
no, I don't. I won't have the person's name on. Well, I guess
okay.
I could write it on there if you don't mind. If you really want it, I'll write it on there. I'll write your name
Mike.
on it, and then Keaton will
Right.
sign it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've signed a couple autographs in my life.
Yeah, Keaton will sign it.
Don't know if they have amounted to anything, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, for sure. Email Alaska Sports Talk, and if you have a guess as to who this mystery guest could be that is related to,
Email
I guess,
or send us a what do they call it? A DM.
yeah,
Send us a
through
DM
the gram or
through
whatever.
the gram.
Oh my god!
Full circle, baby.
But what's the question we're asking again? If you can guess the person,
Who do we have a Brad Lauer's on assignment. Who is he related to? We have a special in with one of the Hall of Fame inductees.
There we go.
So we'll definitely get this
And
person on.
if you don't know the inductees, you can go to
Yes.
Alaska
Alaska
Hall of
Hall of
Fame.org.
Fame.org, and you can take a look, and you can also see the program, and you can watch the live stream there. They got links there on the homepage, so you can take a look.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Be a good time. So again, it's a free event. So if you can
Yep.
make it out in person,
Yep.
Special Olympics Alaska, there in Fairview, it'll be a fun time. Listen to some good stories from all the inductees and things like that. So it'll be pretty cool. Last year, Carl Arts was
Oh, it was
like
awesome. And
the
some of the, I wish we would have run. I wish, because Carl Art sat down and we started talking, and there were some other stories that were going on that we didn't get on the pod that were just awesome. And they weren't bad where we couldn't have had them on. We
right.
just we were just chatting. And I'm like, oh man, we should have had that one on. That would have been a good one.
So it'll be good times, for sure. So, other than that, I think this week's episode of AST is pretty much in the books, I would say. So, um, I think that's going to do it. So we'll keep our eyes out and peeled for potential hires for the UAA job, scores and things of that nature from the high school sports universe. And also, we'll keep an eye on the Anchorage Wolverines and see if they can make a clean sweep of, the
Of the Ice
Fairbanks Ice
Dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Or wait a minute, did you want to mention special news or no? Or
Yeah,
do you
we
want to
probably
save it?
should. We probably should because it'll probably
Okay, all right,
start
all
heading
right.
around. Did
Breaking
have a
news.
kind of a
Oh, that was my sound effect.
special news. We do have, um, just so everybody knows, because I'm sure that some people have already heard, but want to let the listeners know, and some of the people that are real regular listeners and fans of the show, that uh, I've been at ASAA for 15 years. This has been my 15th year. And starting this summer, I'm going to be leaving ASAA, and I have accepted the job of president for the Anchorage Wolverines. So that'll be a big change. A lot of the same things, and I'll be in charge of business operations as well as hockey operations. So a little bit of a different role than I do now, but really looking forward to it. The Wolverines have been really fun to watch and track, and there's some real potential there, as we've seen from numbers of people attending and the excitement in the community. So I'm gonna take that jump and gonna be heading up the Wolverines organization and leaving ASAA this summer.
If they lose this weekend, you know who's going to get blamed.
Yeah, probably me. Yeah, yeah. I could see that
Just
happening.
kidding.
I could see that happening. I'll take
Just,
it. I'll wear
I'll
it.
take it.
I'll wear
Fine,
it.
fine.
I'm
Yeah,
sure it
just
won't be the
fine.
last time that I wear something negative for that. Yeah,
You're
well,
the bad luck guy.
you're the
You look
bad
at
luck guy.
I'm
Son
just
of
kidding.
a.
Yeah.
What were
Dang
they
it.
thinking?
Yeah. Why now? Why? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, that's great. That's awesome news, Isaiah. Congratulations. That's going to be definitely a new adventure
It will
for
be
you. Completely
100%.
different realm of sports for you. So I mean, this is
Well, you know
basically
what?
this is semi-pro. I mean,
And the crazy thing is, and I have to get used to it, is, all these events that we've been running, they're all 8 games in a day, 4 games in a day, all this.
right.
Well, this
Oh,
is
I got
one
one game.
game, one day. I mean,
Right. But now you just
that's
got to
crazy.
replicate it over what's the regular season? 50 games or something like that? I can't
Yeah,
even
now
remember. Like,
it's a little bit of a longer season, but in
right.
reality, it's about the same length of a season as the
High
ASAA
school.
events.
Yeah.
It's just one team instead of, 22 different sports and 22 different championships. So there'll definitely be some adjustment, obviously, and I'll have to
Right.
brush up on some of my hockey lingo. I know a lot of it, but I'm gonna have to brush up on some of
Okay.
it that, I've let lapse over the last few years. So
Okay. All right. Um, I'm trying to think of some lingo that we can get you caught up on. Like, uh, do you know what salad is?
salad. No, I haven't heard that
Salad.
one.
You'll hear hockey players talk about salad a lot. It's just hair. right?
Oh,
He's got a nice
oh,
salad. Yeah.
I've heard lettuce. He's got some nice
Oh,
lettuce.
lettuce. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I've
know,
heard
lettuce
that.
or yeah. Okay.
Salad. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good one.
I don't know.
If a player says
Hockey guys are
sus to
weird.
me, man, if a
Yeah,
player says sus to me, that's that's not good. I
yeah.
don't
Not
want to
good.
hear that. I
We're
don't want to
looking for
hear
trades at that point. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. I'm
that.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, we need to trade this. Said sus.
We're on. Get on the horn. We got to trade
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah,
Why do you got to
yeah.
trade him? He's saying weird stuff. I mean, come on.
Something
Come on.
must be wrong. I don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong. I don't know what's
Okay.
happening.
Yeah. I don't know either. Well, anyway, congratulations, Isaiah. That's huge. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So
Yeah.
congratulations on that venture. So ASAA is certainly going to be, I mean, ASAA is going to be in great hands. Don't get me wrong, but there's going to be a little
Yep.
bit of transition period. I mean,
There
just
will be.
always is
Yep.
when things like that happen. So just a natural thing. But no, it'd be cool. It'd be fun. Going into the off season, you'll be our off season like guy of like what's going on with the Wolverines and things like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool.
Yeah. We'll be able to do that for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Alaska Sports Talk Podcast. Once again, like, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever your platform of choice is. Like, subscribe. Oh, wait a minute. What was that one suggestion we got for like and subscribe? Do you remember?
Oh,
Oh, before
oh,
I just had
oh
an
man.
epiphany. I can't remember. It was
You
great.
just reminded me. What
Oh
was
my
that?
gosh.
I got to pull it. I'm pulling up the email.
I
Let me
can't remember
see
what it
if
was.
oh
Hurry, hurry.
what
Countdown.
oh my goodness, what was it? Because it was
Oh, it was
good.
good. It was really
It was
good. I liked
good.
it.
Can't
It
remember
was
what.
because you sent it to me. Did you text it to me? Is that?
I can't remember if I texted it to you or
Uh,
oh man,
Where is it?
this is really gonna bug me now.
Come on. Where did it
Oh,
go?
help us rename. Here we go.
Yes, yes, yes.
Smile and file.
There you go.
Smile and
Smile and
file.
file. I like it.
At Truth
Not
Prevails 6251. At Truth
winner.
Prevails 6251. Smile and file.
Yeah. No more like and subscribe. Smile and file
Smile and
our
file.
podcast.
Smile and
Uh,
file.
Wherever you listen to your podcast. There we go. So
There we go.
that's going to do it for this edition of AST for Isaiah Freeman, Keaton Homer. Until next week, we'll check you later.